You arrive before the pyramid is even a dream, a hush in the desert, a single mark drawn in the sand. Priests murmur prayers, aligning stars with earth. You breathe in the sacred silence before the noise begins. Let the story of stone and sky begin here. The wind brushes your skin like memory. Not your memory, but something older, something belonging to the land. The desert breathes slowly this morning, its silence wide and waiting. You stand still, feet pressing softly into warm sand as if the ground has been holding its breath for you. There is no pyramid yet, no stone, no dust. Only a flat expanse of earth, smoothed by generations of wind, and a handful of figures robed in linen, tracing invisible lines between the stars and the soil. One of them lifts a long staff toward the horizon. Another places a tiny white stone at his feet. It doesn't look like much, but it is everything. This is where it begins. You are not a builder yet, not a laborer or a name scrawled in ochre on stone. Right now, you are simply present, a witness to the moment the earth is chosen. The sacred geometry whispered into being between a priest's breath and the morning sky. You watch as they measure the ground with ropes that curve like constellations, aligning the corners of an invisible square with the rising of Sirius, the brightest star in the dawn. They murmur the names of gods with voices so quiet they seem meant more for the sky than for human ears. And as you listen, the lines begin to form, not carved, not drawn, but imagined, a map of intention stretching across bare earth. This isn't just land, it is promise, it is direction wrapped in shadow and light. You kneel and press your hand into the soil. The heat surprises you, sun already waking beneath the surface. You close your eyes and try to feel what this ground might become. Not just stone stacked on stone, but time stacked into memory. They say this place was chosen by the gods. But standing here now, you wonder if it's the earth itself that remembers what it's meant to hold. Later, others will come, with baskets and hammers, songs and sweat. But today, the only tools are silence and certainty. You walk slowly around the perimeter, a square in the sand, barely visible to the eye, but unmistakable to the heart. Each corner points somewhere, north, south, east, west, but also inward, toward meaning, toward something you don't yet understand. You pause at the center, the exact middle, where the weight of the pyramid will rest. The place where gravity and intention will meet. Here, one day, a body will be buried, a king, still and silent in stone. But right now, there is only open air and your breath. You don't speak, no one does, not yet. Words would crumble here. What's happening is too slow, too sacred, like the first heartbeat of a child still forming, like the moment just before a dream begins. The priests begin to leave, their footprints fading behind them. They leave no monument, no marker, only the memory of angles and the scent of dust. But you remain, as the sun lifts itself fully into the sky. You remain, listening to the quiet geometry unfolding beneath your feet. This land will not stay silent for long. Soon the hum of tools, the cries of oxen, the rhythm of thousands of footsteps will rise like incense. But this moment, this soft, precise beginning, it stays with you. Even as you walk away, you keep seeing that small white stone in the sand. Still, centered, unmoving, as if all the future has already decided to orbit around it. And somewhere deep inside you, a question begins to stir. If the pyramid is not yet here. How do you build something meant to last forever? The answer will begin with your hands and your sweat. Your hands are calloused, your back warm with the rising sun. You haul limestone under chants and copper tools. Every breath syncs with the rhythm of 1,000 others. You are not alone. You are part of something massive and moving. You are the pulse of a monument. The sun greets your skin before your eyes open. Warmth, not yet harsh. Just enough to remind you that the world is waking, and you are waking with it. You rise from your sleeping mat, brush the sand from your shoulders, and stretch your limbs with the quiet groan of someone used to movement. The morning begins not with words, but with weight. You wrap the linen around your waist, secure the leather of your sandals, and begin your walk toward the edge of the quarry. You do not walk alone. Hundreds of feet move beside yours, stirring dust that smells like old stone and sweat. There are no orders shouted, just a silent understanding passed from body to body. You know your place, your team, your role in the slow breathing of the worksite. The limestone waits, pale and heavy, chiseled from the belly of the quarry with copper tools that need constant sharpening. You touch the block before you lift it, a quiet gesture, like greeting an old friend. The stone is warm, not yet hot, just kissed by the same sun that kissed you. Your hands grip the wooden sled, ropes thick and rough against your palms. Others join beside you, shoulders low, jaws set. No one speaks, but the breath of the group rises and falls like a single sleeping animal. Then the chant begins, soft at first. A melody made of vowels and rhythm, voices layered, deep, high, cracked, strong, each tone another thread in the rope of the work. The chant isn't for the gods today. It's for the stone, for the bodies pulling it, for your breath. You pull. Not alone, never alone. Your arms burn, but the chant lifts you. Your legs ache, but they move in time with 50 others. Even the ground seems to give way, just enough, as the sled grinds over the sand, oiled with wet clay to ease its journey. There is pain, but there is also rhythm, and rhythm makes pain bearable. Above you, the pyramid grows, a wide base of bright blocks, smoothed and stacked, reaching higher each month. You've placed your stones there. You've seen them vanish into the walls, swallowed by structure. Sometimes you wonder if the pyramid knows you, if it remembers your hands, your breath, your song. Sometimes when you close your eyes, you can feel it, as if the monument has a heartbeat, and you are part of it. You stop to rest beneath a thin cloth canopy. Someone hands you a cup of barley beer, thick, warm, sour with the scent of yeast and sun. You drink, wipe your mouth with the back of your hand, and laugh softly at nothing in particular. Dust coats everything, your skin, your eyelids, the inside of your nose. But even that feels like proof. Proof that you are here, that you are doing something real. The overseer passes, counting heads with a practiced glance. You nods just once, not approval, but acknowledgement. You exist, you move the stones. You return to the rope, to the rhythm, to the chant. And as the stone creeps forward, as your muscles tremble but do not falter, you realize something. The pyramid is not just rising, it is breathing. And your breath is part of its breath. Your movement, your voice, your sweat, they are woven into every block, pressed between each layer like offerings of the living to the future dead. You are not building for the king, not only. You are building for the gods, for memory, for something beyond you that still, somehow, needs you. And tonight, when you sleep, your arms will still ache. But your dreams will be filled with white stone and rising light, and the rhythm of 1,000 breaths moving together, like one heart beating beneath the sun. You wait to the scent of barley and baking clay, a ration of beer, a loaf of bread, payment, prayer, and pleasure. You eat not just to work, but to belong. The economy of effort is measured in full bellies and offered thanks. The gods are fed when you are fed. The morning finds you before the sun does. Light filters in slowly, not from the sky yet, but from the glow of clay ovens and the steam rising from pots of porridge. You stretch your back, your shoulders, already remembering the weight they'll carry. But for now, you breathe in the smell of grain, barley, cracked and ground by stone, boiled with water and honey into something warm, thick, comforting. You take the wooden bowl offered to you, still warm from the fire. Its heat rests in your palms like a blessing. Nearby, flatbread bakes in clay molds, discs of dough rising slowly, sweetened by time and the faint smoke of desert wood. This is the first rhythm of the day. Not stone, not sweat, but nourishment. You sit beside others, no words, just chewing and quiet. A kind of quiet that feels full, not empty. A jug of beer is passed down the line, cloudy and bitter, with tiny grains still floating in the mix. It's not the beer of feasts or festivals, it's working beer. Food in liquid form. Thick with barley, sharp with yeast, it coats your throat and warms your belly. It tastes like effort, and it tastes like home. Rations come not from kindness, but from balance. Every loaf earned, every jug deserved. The overseers track it all, how much bread for a stone hauler, how much beer for a copper tool sharpener, a ledger carved in charcoal and memory. And yet, there is something more in the food than just fuel. Something older. You see it in the way the bread is broken, the way a crumb is tossed into the fire. A soft murmur follows, not a conversation, but a prayer. Because food here is also offering. You eat not just to survive the day, but to bless it. Before the first block is moved, before the first command is shouted, someone kneels. Not a priest, not a noble, just a man with rough hands and a small bowl of beer. He pours a little into the earth. The sand drinks it slowly. For the gods, for the dead, for the sun that will rise. This is how your world holds itself together. Stone is heavy, but bread and beer, they are the glue, the comfort, the rhythm beneath the rhythm. There is a kitchen near every work crew, a team of bakers and brewers, usually older women with quick hands and sun-creased faces. They work all day, stirring, kneading, watching, waiting. They don't lift stones, but without them, no one else would either. You thank them with a nod. They nod back. The exchange is quiet, but full of meaning. Your place in this world is not just at the quarry. It is also at this table, such as it is, with dirt for a floor and the smell of yeast in the air. And later, when your arms tremble from pulling sleds and your feet ache with the memory of walking, you'll come back here. Again. A second meal, another jug, some laughter, shared stories, and always that moment of stillness before the first bite. A reminder that life isn't just about what you build, but how you're sustained while building it. The pyramid will outlast your body, but this bread, this beer, they carry you forward today. They are the reward, the ritual, and the reminder that every builder is also a believer, not in temples, but in shared warmth, in full stomachs, in the sacred act of feeding one another. And when the final meal is over, when the bowl is wiped clean and the jug runs dry, you feel something deeper than fullness. You feel gratitude, not just for the food, but for your place in this circle. You are not just a builder of pyramids. You are part of a cycle older than stone, the rhythm of hunger and heat and hands that never stop giving. And somewhere, in the shadows near the oven, a whisper rises with the smoke. When the workers are fed, the gods are fed too. Not all return home at the end of the shift. Beneath the pyramid, workers lie curled in sleep eternal. You walk among graves that mirror your own shape. Honor hums in silence. This too is part of the pyramid. You carry both stone and soul. Some mornings, there are fewer footsteps than before. Someone's bed remains untouched. Someone's cup stays empty. And the chant, when it begins, carries an edge of silence that no one speaks about, but everyone feels. You return to the site, not to lift, not to haul, not to build, but to remember. Just beyond the work camp, the earth opens softly. Rows of low mounds, sun-bleached and simple, line the edge of the plateau. No gold, no tomb paintings, just quiet shapes in the sand, each marked with a small pile of stones or a single shard of pottery, pressed gently into place. You stand among them, not as a stranger, but as someone who knows how it feels to carry the same weight. These were your brothers in labor, men who pulled the same ropes, shared the same beer, laughed beside the same fire. Now, they lie still, not punished, not discarded, but placed, like the blocks they once helped move. You kneel beside one. There is no name etched in stone, but someone has drawn a simple figure into a clay tablet near his head. A man pulling a sled, his arms bent in motion. It's enough. The wind moves softly across the graves, lifting small clouds of sand, whispering around your ankles. It sounds like breath, but it isn't. You close your eyes and picture him, strong, laughing, tired. Maybe he cursed the sun. Maybe he sang louder than anyone. Maybe he had a family waiting back in a village you'll never see. Or maybe this was his whole life. The pyramid, the crew, the chant, and now this stillness. Some would say he died a laborer, but you know better. He died building eternity. The overseers allow time for burials, a short ritual, some bread, some incense, sometimes a bit of linen if there's enough. No priests, no scrolls, but there are always hands. Hands that dig, that smooth the soil, that place a final stone. You've done it yourself. And you'll do it again. Because the pyramid doesn't only rise upward, it reaches down too, into the earth, into the bodies it rests upon. The dead are not forgotten here. They are folded into the story. Each grave a line in a quiet song that hums beneath the monument. And in the evenings, as the sun sinks behind the plateau, you sometimes walk here again, not out of grief, but out of respect. To remember where your own body will lie someday. To remind yourself that every breath is borrowed, that every block you lift might be your last, and that this too is holy. The dead beneath the stones are not shadows, they are foundations. Without them, nothing would stand. You rise, brush the sand from your knees, and press your palm gently to the earth. It's still warm, still breathing with the memory of work. You take one last look. A line of graves stretching like quiet thoughts across the ridge, some small, some barely marked, but each one known by those who remain. As you return to the site, to the living, you carry something more than calluses and sweat. You carry the weight of those who no longer walk beside you. You carry stone and soul. And one day, when your time comes, when the last rope slips from your fingers, you know this: you will not be forgotten. You will not vanish. You will become part of the pyramid, not only in what you built, but in where you rest. And the sand will remember your name, even if no one else does.
Not all return home at the end of the shift. Beneath the pyramid, workers lie curled in sleep eternal. You walk among graves that mirror your own shape. Honor hums in silence. This too is part of the pyramid. You carry both stone and soul. Some mornings, there are fewer footsteps than before. Someone's bed remains untouched. Someone's cup stays empty. And the chant, when it begins, carries an edge of silence that no one speaks about. But everyone feels. You return to the site, not to lift, not to haul, not to build, but to remember. Just beyond the work camp, the earth opens softly. Rows of low mounds, sun-bleached and simple, line the edge of the plateau. No gold. No tomb paintings. Just quiet shapes in the sand, each marked with a small pile of stones or a single shard of pottery, pressed gently into place. You stand among them. Not as a stranger, but as someone who knows how it feels to carry the same weight. These were your brothers in labor. Men who pulled the same ropes, shared the same beer, laughed beside the same fire. Now, they lie still. Not punished. Not discarded. But placed, like the blocks they once helped move. You kneel beside one. There is no name etched in stone, but someone has drawn a simple figure into a clay tablet near his head, a man pulling a sled, his arms bent in motion. It's enough. The wind moves softly across the graves, lifting small clouds of sand, whispering around your ankles. It sounds like breath. But it isn't. You close your eyes and picture him, strong, laughing, tired. Maybe he cursed the sun. Maybe he sang louder than anyone. Maybe he had a family waiting back in a village you'll never see. Or maybe this was his whole life. The pyramid. The crew. The chant. And now, this stillness. Some would say he died a laborer. But you know better. He died building eternity. The overseers allow time for burials. A short ritual. Some bread, some incense, sometimes a bit of linen if there's enough. No priests. No scrolls. But there are always hands, hands that dig, that smooth the soil, that place a final stone. You've done it yourself. And you'll do it again. Because the pyramid doesn't only rise upward. It reaches down too, into the earth, into the bodies it rests upon. The dead are not forgotten here. They are folded into the story. Each grave a line in a quiet song that hums beneath the monument. And in the evenings, as the sun sinks behind the plateau, you sometimes walk here again, not out of grief, but out of respect. To remember where your own body will lie someday. To remind yourself that every breath is borrowed. That every block you lift might be your last. And that this too is holy. The dead beneath the stones are not shadows. They are foundations. Without them, nothing would stand. You rise, brush the sand from your knees, and press your palm gently to the earth. It's still warm. Still breathing with the memory of work. You take one last look. A line of graves stretching like quiet thoughts across the ridge. Some small. Some barely marked. But each one known by those who remain. As you return to the site, to the living, you carry something more than calluses and sweat. You carry the weight of those who no longer walk beside you. You carry stone and soul. And one day, when your time comes, when the last rope slips from your fingers, you know this. You will not be forgotten. You will not vanish. You will become part of the pyramid. Not only in what you built, but in where you rest. And the sand will remember your name. Even if no one else does. Graffiti hides behind polished casing stones, crew jokes, team names, prayers scrawled in haste. You scratch your name too, unsure who might see. Even among dust, your voice wants to linger. You are writing yourself into the future. Not everything on the pyramid is meant to be seen. Some things are hidden. Buried behind the smooth, white casing stones, or tucked into the walls where only the builders ever stood. You know this, because you've left something there. A mark. A name. A whisper. The limestone block you helped place yesterday bears more than the chisel's edge. Before it was lifted, you leaned down, and with a shard of burnt wood, you scratched a word into its side. Not a grand word. Not a poem. Just your name. 3 short symbols. Simple. Rushed. Almost forgotten. But not quite. It will never be seen again. By the end of the week, that block will be buried under 3 more. Pressed into shadow. Sealed by time. But it will still be there. Still yours. Others do it too. You've seen their scrawls in the margins of stone. Team of the drunkards. We beat the strong arms. A moon's oxen. Sometimes, it's a joke. A sketch of a supervisor with donkey ears. A prayer to a god written upside down. A message to someone far away. A secret no one else understands. The overseers frown when they see it. But they don't stop you. Not really. They know something lives in those markings, something human. Something that refuses to be erased. You are not just building for the king. You are building for memory. And memory needs cracks to live in. At night, when the work is done and the firelight flickers against the stone walls, some of the men tell stories, not about the gods or the stars, but about the things they've written. I drew a hawk on the side of the western corner block, one says, smiling, so when the pyramid flies into the sky, it takes me with it. Another one laughs, mine just says, I was here. That's enough. And it is. Because long after your muscles forget the pain, after the songs fade from your lips, your marks will remain. Buried. Silent. But still speaking. You wonder. Who will uncover them? Will anyone? Will the future know you worked here, sweated here, bled here? Will they understand the hands that shaped these stones? Or will they only speak of kings and architects? You don't know. But you write anyway. Because even among dust, your voice wants to linger. And not just yours. There are older whispers, too. Faint scratches on the quarry walls, etched years ago by someone you never met, their name beside a bird, or a sun, or a line of dots that might be a tally of how many blocks they placed before they died. You touch those marks now, as you rest your back against the cool stone. You trace them with your fingertip, softly, reverently. They are proof. Not just of work, but of being. You feel a strange comfort, knowing that these whispers surround you. You are not alone. Not just in life, but in legacy. You take your chisel now, and find a smooth edge of limestone just below the current layer. You press the metal in gently. Not to carve a name this time, but a single symbol, a circle with a dot at the center. The sun. The I. The self. It's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. Because it's yours. And because one day, when the wind strips back the ages, and someone stumbles across this stone, they might pause. Might wonder who you were? And maybe, just maybe, they'll whisper your name in the language of a world you'll never see. And you'll be there. Still waiting beneath the dust. Still whispering, I was here. Stars speak to you while you sleep. You wake before dawn to align stone with Sirius. The pyramid is not just a tomb, but a calendar carved in light. Geometry becomes sacred when it reflects the heavens. Your labor is part of a cosmic clock. Even in your sleep, you feel them watching. Not the overseers. Not the king. But the stars. They move in silence above you, tracing invisible patterns across the sky, while your breath rises and falls with the desert wind. You dream not of stone tonight, but of light. You wake before the sun. The sky is still indigo, sprinkled with 1,000 pale eyes. You rise without speaking. The others do too. This morning is not for hauling or hammering. It is for seeing. You walk together to the eastern ridge. The horizon is soft with promise. And above it, there she is. Sirius. The bright one. The dog star. Rising just before dawn. You are told she marks the new year. That her rising calls the Nile to flood. That she is the voice of Isis. That she sings silently to the gods. But this morning, she sings to you. A priest stands nearby, his linen robes glowing faintly in the starlight. He raises a long, slender rod, and peers along its length toward the star. He does not move quickly. His work is delicate, balancing heaven and earth on the breath of a single starbeam. He nods, and the markers are adjusted. Wooden poles shift slightly in the sand, measuring the angle between the light above and the ground below. This is alignment. You watch, heart slow and steady, as the sacred geometry is drawn, not on parchment, but across the open sky. The priests say the pyramid must face true north. That its sides must mirror the cosmos. That the path to the afterlife is written in angles and shadows. You never doubted it. Even before you understood. The lines you carve. The corners you level. The stones you place. They are not random. They are celestial. Precise. Measured not just in cubits, but in eternity. You kneel beside a marking stake, adjusting the rope line that guides the next row. Each fiber of the rope stretches toward the stars, as if trying to remember where it came from. The man beside you whispers, "Every stone we lay is a day, a season, a breath in the mouth of time." You don't reply. You only nod. Because you feel it too. When the light breaks at last, that first beam of gold cresting the horizon, Sirius fades. But her work is done. She has shown you the way. You return to the base, where the day's blocks await. But something has changed. They no longer feel heavy. They feel destined. You lift them with care, as though each one holds a piece of sky pressed into stone. The pyramid is not just a tomb. Not just a monument. It is a clock, a map of time and spirit, etched in shadow and slope. And you, with your sun-dark skin and dust-caked hands, you are part of the mechanism. Your footsteps tick. Your tools chime. And as you lay each stone in place, you are turning the wheel of something far beyond your reach. Later, as the sun climbs high and the light grows harsh, you look up at the peak that is not yet finished. The capstone still waits. The perfect point. The final moment. And you wonder. Will it point to something? To a god? To a solstice? To a single star that rises only once every 1,000 years? You may never know. But your hands will know. Your body will remember. Because long after your bones have returned to dust, this structure will still watch the sky. Still catch the light. Still tell the story of when the earth and heavens once met in perfect silence. And when the wind moves over the pyramid, when night returns and Sirius rises again, maybe, just maybe, the stars will remember your name as one of their builders. Your chisel bites stone with the kiss of copper. Ovens burn behind the site, melting tools back to form. You learn not just strength, but delicate skill. Science breathes quietly through every groove you carve. Even in dust, invention glows. The stone does not yield easily. It resists, like bone beneath the skin of the earth. Hard. Patient. Ancient. But your chisel knows the language of pressure. And so do you. You press the edge of copper into limestone. Not with force alone. But with rhythm. Tapping gently, then firmly, then gently again, as if coaxing the shape to emerge from inside the block itself. This is not violence. This is listening. You can hear it, that soft, gritty crunch as a thin line appears. A fracture. A suggestion. You pause. Adjust. Then strike again. The copper blade dulls quickly. It always does. But that too is part of the rhythm. Behind the site, a line of furnaces smolders low and steady, fed with dry reeds, dung, and desert wind. They burn all day and night, their bellies glowing orange with breath and smoke. Here, the broken tools return to be born again. A boy with soot-dark arms pulls a tray of molten copper from the coals. He pours it into a clay mold, and waits. You stand nearby, holding the chisel you've worn thin, watching its future cool into shape. It is alchemy. Not of gold, but of usefulness. What once failed becomes sharp again. And so do you. You pick up the new blade. Warm still. Lighter. Balanced. And return to the stone. Some men think it's just labor, muscle and time. But you've learned the truth. The best cuts are not made with strength, but with patience. You follow the grain of the rock. Feel it with your fingertips. Listen for the hum of pressure just before the crack. Every block has a secret shape inside it. And your task is to release it. That's what the overseer once told you. And now, you believe it. The line you carve today might guide another block tomorrow. It might become part of a hidden chamber. Or a stairway that rises toward the light. Or a doorway 1,000 years from now no one remembers how to open. You don't know. But the groove matters. Because in this dust, invention glows. Someone once had to figure this all out. How to temper copper with arsenic or tin. How to shape chisels that didn't shatter. How to melt and mold and measure with eyes alone. You are walking in the footsteps of quiet scientists. Builders who studied not with scrolls, but with scars. And you, whether you realize it or not, are becoming one of them. You talk less now during the day. You focus. Count your strikes. Angle your wrists. Let the tool do the work. It hums in your hand when you strike just right. And that hum feels like knowledge. You wonder, sometimes, if the kings ever see this part of the work. Not the lifting. Not the hauling. But the shaping. The art that lives in angles and edges. Probably not. But it doesn't matter. Because the stone sees you. Feels you. Remembers your touch. And when the pyramid gleams in the morning sun, its lines sharp, its corners true, you will know that you helped carve time itself. You will know that your copper blade, your fire-made tool, gave form to the dream. And as the day ends, as the chisels are gathered, as the ovens breathe their final sighs, You look down at your hands. Sore. Red. But steady. Your fingers still smell faintly of copper. Of dust. Of something ancient becoming new again. And in the silence, as the stars begin to return, you whisper to no one at all. Even in the simplest cut, science is speaking. And you. You are learning to listen. He watches from the ridge with lined eyes and silent hands. A man between gods and mortals, between kings and laborers. You fear him. You respect him. But at night, you wonder who he truly serves. Power casts long shadows under the sun. He stands where the slope rises, a ridge of dry rock above the worksite, eyes narrowed, arms folded, still as a statue carved from shadow. You feel his gaze even when you're not looking at him. It pricks the back of your neck like a chill, even in the heat. He does not shout often. He doesn't need to. A nod, a glance, a single step forward, and the entire site shifts. He is not the king. But when he speaks, men listen as if it were law. You do not know his name. Not truly. Only the title passed from mouth to mouth, overseer. A man not born to a throne, but standing close enough to power that he tastes its weight. He walks among the workers sometimes, slowly, deliberately, hands behind his back, measuring progress with a single look. You never know if that look brings reward. Or punishment. He marks the day with stones of his own, not limestone blocks, but tallies on a clay tablet, etched with thin reeds dipped in ink. He knows how many men worked today. How many loaves were eaten. How many chisels broke. How many hours each crew took to lift a block from shadow into light. And still, you wonder, who watches him? You know he receives messages from the palace. Scrolls sealed in wax, delivered by boys on swift legs, carried from chambers you will never see. And yet, he eats the same bread you do. Drinks the same beer. Sleeps, perhaps, on a similar mat. A man between two worlds. He speaks the language of power and the rhythm of labor. You fear him. You respect him. But you also wonder. Is he still human? Some say he once hauled stone, like you. That his hands were once calloused, his back sunburned, his voice part of the chants that rise with every block. But now those hands are smooth. His voice is quiet. And his eyes hold a distance that never quite reaches down to where you stand. You see him studying the lines of the pyramid, checking ropes, adjusting stakes, conferring with priests on alignments and omens. To you, a block is weight. To him, it is order. To you, sweat is survival. To him, it is calculation. Yet there are moments. Tiny ones. When you catch something else in him. When a stone slips. When a worker cries out. When the sun catches the curve of the wall just right. He pauses. His mouth tightens. His eyes soften, almost imperceptibly. You think, perhaps, he remembers. Not just the plan. Not just the blueprint etched in his mind. But the feeling of carrying the stone. The ache. The purpose. But the moment always passes. He turns away, resumes his pace, vanishes into a tent lined with reed scrolls and charcoal sketches of structures not yet built. And at night, as you lie beneath the stars, staring into the dark that seems too wide to name, you think of him again. You wonder where he sleeps. If he dreams. If he is proud. Or lonely. You wonder who he serves, the living king? The dead gods? Or something else entirely? Maybe he doesn't even know. Maybe power changes a man until he forgets the feel of dust between his fingers. Or maybe he still carries it quietly, hidden beneath layers of silence and command. You don't hate him. You don't admire him. You watch him the way one watches a falcon circling high above, beautiful, sharp, unreachable. And you understand this much. His job is to make the pyramid rise. Your job is to carry it. But both of you, in your own ways, answer to something higher. And in the heat of day, when his shadow stretches long across the blocks, you remember. Every structure has its shape. And every shadow has its source. It rises above you, smooth, white, and impossible. Stone by stone, your days stack into something divine. It no longer feels like work. But worship. You've become part of something too large to grasp. You look up, and see your life encased in limestone. It rises now. Far above your head. Where once there was sand and sunlight, now stands a wall of gleaming white, smooth as silence, wide as the wind. You remember when the first stones were placed. Low. Simple. Manageable. Now, they disappear into the sky. You crane your neck to follow the slope. Your eyes narrow against the light. And still, you cannot see the top. It is no longer just a building. It is becoming everything. Each block you placed has vanished into the mass, absorbed, hidden, lifted by those who came after you. You cannot pick out your work now. But you know it's there. Tucked beneath new layers. Supporting others. And somehow, that's enough. There is a slope ramp now, spiraling slowly upward, circling the growing monument like a snake of dust. You walk it daily. Step by step. Level by level. Sometimes the climb seems endless. Your feet drag. Your lungs burn. But then, you reach the edge, where stone meets sky. And you see it. The valley spread out below, villages like seeds scattered in the sand. The curve of the Nile, gleaming like a vein of green glass carved through the desert's chest. And at the center of it all, this pyramid. Your pyramid. You kneel to guide the next block into place. It fits with a soft scrape. Almost like breath against stone. You brush away the dust. Step back. And the line is perfect. It hums. It feels less like labor now. And more like ritual. The rhythm has changed. What was once grunting and shouting has become silence, punctuated by soft instructions, careful placement, a shared respect. No one rushes anymore. You will understand that the higher the pyramid climbs, the more sacred the work becomes. The priests say that every layer lifts the king closer to the gods. But you wonder if it lifts you too. If your sweat is a kind of incense. If your breath becomes prayer. There are moments when time disappears. When you forget what day it is, what year. When the work becomes all there is, each stone a word, each groove a verse. You do not speak. You do not need to. The monument speaks for you. And yet, at night, as the fire crackles and the stars return, you feel something strange. Not pride. Not even peace. But awe. Because this thing you've helped shape no longer belongs to you. It belongs to history. To gods. To strangers yet unborn. You lie on your back in the sand, the outline of the pyramid black against the stars. You trace its edges with your eyes, then close them. And in your mind, you see it whole. Finished. Shining. Complete. A structure built from days. From pain and song. From laughter and silence. From lives. Layered like stone. You see yourself inside it, not trapped, but remembered. Your name may not be carved in hieroglyphs. But your hands are there. Pressed invisibly into every block. And tomorrow, you will climb again. You will lift. You will smooth. You will chant. Not because someone told you to. But because you must. Because the pyramid calls you. Because your soul has found its rhythm here. Because building has become belonging. And when the final stone is placed, whenever that is, you will look up and see something impossible. Your own life, carved in limestone. The king arrives not in gold, but in stillness. His breath gone, but his pyramid complete. Priests chant. You bow. Dust settles. You wonder, does he sleep now, or rise? You built a stairway for someone else's eternity. The sun is high, but no one moves. The air hangs heavy, thick with incense and breath held too long. A procession winds up the slope, slow and soundless except for the soft whisper of feet on sand and the steady hum of priestly voices. They do not carry him with fanfare. There are no trumpets, no drums. Only stillness. The king, Pharaoh, son of Ra, lord of the two lands, has returned to the earth. You watch from the ramp, tool still in hand, stone dust drying on your arms. The pyramid is finished. Not polished, not gilded, but whole. Complete. And now, he enters it. He does not walk. He is carried. Wrapped in linen, hidden in the silence of death, his body no longer needing what yours still fights to keep. A sacred box rests on golden poles, lifted by 12 men in fine linen. Their eyes do not rise. Their feet move in practiced, reverent unison. Around them, priests murmur verses older than memory. Words spoken for centuries by generations who prepared for this exact moment. You have seen this pyramid grow from a flat plain of dust to a peak that kisses the sky. You never saw the king. Not truly. His face was on statues. His name on clay. But he was always distant. Now he is here. Not in glory, but in surrender. The final chamber waits for him, deep within the pyramid's heart, lined in granite, sealed in dark. You helped build that chamber. You remember its shape. The hollow echo inside. The slow pulse of your own breath as you smoothed its floor with copper tools. You never thought then about the body it would hold. And now. You bow your head as the king is taken inside. He does not speak. But still, you listen. Not to his voice, but to what remains, the rustle of linen, the scent of resin, the echo of chants bouncing softly between stone walls. Does he rise now? Does he walk among the stars, as the priests say? Climbing the pyramid's perfect slope into heaven? Or does he sleep, still and silent forever? You do not know. But you do know this. He is not buried alone. With him go the dreams of hundreds, thousands, men and women who carved, hauled, sweated, bled. And you. You are in there, though no one will ever see it. In the mortar. In the corners. In the air trapped inside when the final block was set in place. You built not just a tomb. You built a stairway. For someone else's eternity. And as the chamber is sealed, as the last echo fades, you feel something close inside you too. Not grief. Not exactly. But completion. The pyramid no longer grows. It watches. Its shadow lengthens over the sand. Its point catches the sun. Its edges glow white, as if lit from within. And in the silence that follows, you realize something gently. He may be gone. But you. You remain. And the pyramid, his eternal house, is also yours. Your hands shaped it. Your days filled it. Your breath stirred its dust for years. And now, it holds you too. You walk back down the ramp in silence. Past the ovens, the sleeping quarters, the marks you once scratched in secret. Everything is quiet. Only the wind speaks now. And it carries a whisper across the valley. You built for a god. But you became something more. A maker of memory. A builder of time. The work is done. The desert waits. You pack your tools, your memories, your worn sandals. You are no longer just a worker, you are a witness. The pyramid remains, but so do you. And somewhere in the stone, your breath still lingers. The work is done. There are no more blocks to haul, no lines to measure, no chants rising with the sun. Just silence. Soft, wide, and full. You stand at the edge of the camp, your satchel slung across your back, your tools wrapped in cloth, your sandals cracked but holding. The air smells of old dust and cooling stone. And something else, something tender. Memory. Behind you, the pyramid watches. Its edges sharp against the morning sky, its peak now catching the earliest light like a flame that never goes out. You have spent years beneath its shadow. You know every echo, every shift in the wind. But now, you must leave it. You tighten the cords around your bundle, run your hand once more over the copper chisel, its edge dull, but familiar, and start walking. Each step takes you farther from the monument and closer to yourself. Because what you carry now cannot be packed. It's in your hands. In your back. In your breath. It's in the way you listen to stone and notice how the sun leans through morning fog. It's in the silence you learn to keep. And the strength you found without needing to shout. You look back one last time. The pyramid is quiet. Still. But alive. You see the slope you climbed 1,000 times. The ridge where the overseer stood. The place where you etched your name, hidden behind a polished stone no one will ever remove. It's still there. You're still there. Not just in memory, but in material. The blocks you shaped. The chambers you measured. The tools you passed to younger hands. You leave them all behind. And still, they carry your voice. Your breath still lingers somewhere inside that stone. It will remain long after your body fades. Long after your name is forgotten. Long after the Nile changes course and the valley grows quiet again. You walk now through a desert that feels different. Not empty. But open. Full of space. Full of time. Your feet find rhythm on the path, a rhythm that doesn't rush. That doesn't need to prove anything. You are no longer just a worker. You are a witness. You have seen what hands can build when they move in harmony. You have heard stone hum beneath copper. You have felt the sky align with your labor. And you know, deep in your chest, that what you built was more than stone. It was presence. It was devotion. It was becoming. As the sun rises behind your back, you cast a long shadow ahead of you. It moves with you, quiet and sure, as if guiding you forward. You do not know what comes next. Where the path leads. Who you will become without the pyramid to wake you each morning. But you do know this. You will never be empty again. Because a part of you is built now. Laid in perfect lines. Set in rhythm with the stars. And though you may not carry stone, you carry weight, the sacred kind. The kind that holds silence, and wonder, and the memory of light on white limestone. You walk on. The wind shifts. And for a moment, it sounds like the chant you used to sing. Faint. Familiar. Far away. You smile. Because the pyramid may be still. But you are not. You are moving. Changing. Living. And always, always, you are building. Even now. Even here. Even after. As sleep pulls you under, your mind returns to sand. You lie beneath the stars, beneath the pyramid, beneath time. Your story is buried, yes, but it echoes. Stone dreams. So do you. Good night, builder. Your work is done. The night is quiet now. The wind has softened. The stars blink slowly overhead, as if they too are ready to rest. You close your eyes. And in the darkness behind your lids, you are not here, not in your bed, not in this moment. You are back. Back beneath the wide Egyptian sky. Back beside the white slope of stone that rises out of the sand like a frozen wave. You are lying there, on warm rock, your hands folded over your chest, the sound of distant chanting drifting toward silence. You are still. The pyramid looms above you. Finished. Silent. Eternal. But within you, something stirs. A memory of motion. Of dust, and heat, and breath. Of hands carving lines. Of shoulders lifting weight. Of voices chanting in rhythm as blocks slid into place. You do not need to speak. The pyramid speaks for you now. It remembers. It remembers your name, though it's hidden behind stone. It remembers your sweat, though the dust has long since settled. It remembers your gaze, how you looked up at it, and called it impossible. And then made it real. Beneath you, the desert hums. Beneath the desert, the river coils like a sleeping serpent. Beneath the river, time moves slowly, carving new pyramids of memory deep within the earth. And beneath it all, your story rests. Still. But not silent. You are part of the foundation now. Not just of a monument, but of meaning. You built something meant to last beyond breath. And in doing so, you became something timeless. Stone dreams, they say. And you. You dream with it. In your dream, you see the pyramid again, not from the ground, but from above. The white peak gleams in moonlight, and you rise, slowly, as if lifted by the stars themselves. Higher. Lighter. You see the lines of labor etched across the sand, paths walked 1,000 times. You see the tiny dots of firelight, the camps, the quiet footprints left by the builders beneath you. You see your own footprints. Still there. Still leading toward the heart of the structure. Still pointing towards something greater than yourself. And then, the dream softens. The image fades, but the feeling remains. A feeling of peace. Of weight, not as burden, but as presence. You are not alone beneath the stones. Others are here too, those who carved, those who measured, those who prayed. You are all resting now. And though time will press onward, and kings will rise and fall, and names will crumble, this will remain. The shape you left behind. The trace of your rhythm. The breath caught in stone. You built it with your hands. But also with your heart. Your silence. Your wonder. You built with a part of yourself that longs to leave a mark. And you did. Now rest. The desert no longer calls. The tools are quiet. The stars turn slowly. And you. You lie beneath them. Beneath the stones, beneath the story you helped carve into the face of the earth. Sleep now, builder. Your work is done. Your pyramid stands. Your name may be lost. But your echo remains. Good night.